So on the topic of Doge and Elon Musk, we've had 30,000 federal workers that have been given notice since Doge started in January, and then President Trump over the weekend he posted a thing on, I think it was Truth Social initially. He said, Elon's doing a great job, but I would like to see him get more aggressive. Remember, we have a country to save, but ultimately to make greater than ever before MAGA, which is really funny that he just couldn't pick up the phone and call Elon and be like, hey, I'd like you to be a little bit more aggressive. But be that as it may, with this very public statement that he wanted Elon to get more aggressive, he did. Elon did. And Saturday afternoon, he sent an email to all of these federal employees in these agencies asking them to answer the question, what did you do last week? So he said, consistent with President Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. And then he went on to say, to be clear, the bar is very low here. An email with some bullet points that make any sense at all is acceptable, should take less than 5 minutes to write. Now, his point that he said was there are a lot of people, federal workers, who are so far removed from even working that they aren't even checking their email. And so the point of the email was, if you get this, you're going to respond. Doesn't really matter what you respond with. We're just trying to see that you respond. And so that was Elon Musk's more aggressive stance to root out all of this, redundancy and waste in the federal government. I didn't hate it. I know there were some new agency heads like Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel who told their agencies to disregard the email. Right. I personally loved the email. I thought it was great.
I have a lot of... Well, I have a lot of things running through my mind about this.
Don't you dare. Don't you do it, Steve.
I've spent so much time over the weekend since this got out, and even before this was sent by Elon, about the firings that are taking place inside the DOD, the intelligence community. And one of the things that they are saying is absolutely 100% confirmed is that all of the DOD intelligence agencies, the various divisions, were told not to respond until they received clarification from their command. Don't respond. Yeah. And look, okay, when you're talking about intelligence guys, maybe, I mean, certainly they're smart enough to come up with 5 things that don't give away national secrets, but that's not the point. They don't usually respond on company email unless it goes through a filter, unless it's approved, goes through the command structure, et cetera, et cetera. And so they have legitimate concerns for not immediately responding to this, but now I'm not taking it away. Yeah, sure. I'm giving it back. The thing that I was talking about earlier is there's so many of these individuals that are in very precarious places in their career. Like, for instance, if they've changed agencies in the last 6 months, they lost what they called their green card, which meant they basically had tenure. And because they changed into a new company, now they're on probationary status. They have their blue card. As a result of that, they're afraid they're going to end up on one of those spreadsheets where it says we want 8% of them gone.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason they changed agencies is because they were a superstar. They were a high performer. And that's why they were recruited into a higher level. Well, even though they moved into a higher position, they were now on probationary status. So some of these things, as I said, are going to be some unfortunate casualties of war against, the waste, the fraud, the corruption, the abuse.
Right.
But it's going to happen.
I just appreciate the sentiment, right? Like, if you can't bother responding to an email with just a general summary of what you did last week, taxpayers should not have to pay your salary. I appreciate the sentiment. Again, I understand there's some nuance to some of these agencies, and obviously, does Elon Musk have the power to fire these people? Well, no, but I mean, Donald Trump did put him in charge of rooting out this waste, fraud, and corruption, and that's certainly one way to do it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that are getting fired, actually. Right. So the Doge guys are going in and they are firing people. But I think you're right with the intelligence. I mean, we kind of look at these things as these big behemoths, which they are, But we have to remember there are people at this point that are undercover, that they are doing God's work. I've said this before, when people's like, we need to just get rid of the FBI. And it's all right you saying that, but there are people that are, with the DEA, with the FBI, they're undercover with the cartels, right? So they actually cannot do that. But the other thing that I've heard as well, and it's well worth remembering, is the government goes 80%, 90% slower than the private sector. Mm-hmm. And so what you've got is this rapid change into a private sector approach, which is like, let's just get shit done and we'll figure it out. So I can tell you right now, there is a little bit of scrambling. Right, there is a bit of scrambling where people are going, we love it, but we're just moving ahead so fast that we've got to try. There are people trying to catch up. And like you said, there is collateral damage. It is going to happen. But for the most part, I think it's doing a really good job of flushing these people out. Because like you said, Sarah, if you can't say, and there are people that are just going, I'm not responding.
Right.
Who are you?
Who are you to tell us?
Gone.
Well, I can tell you who he is. The guy that the president put in charge of rooting out waste, fraud, and corruption. So that in and of itself, I mean, I know the left is like, oh, what? Nobody elected him president. Nobody voted for Elon Musk. I most certainly did vote for Elon Musk when President Trump put him on stage and told the entire country that he was going to be putting Elon in charge of what he is literally doing right now. And I knew that. And I went into the voting booth and I said, hell yes, sign me up for that. And all the other things he's doing. So yes, we very much did vote for Elon Musk being in charge of this, regardless of whether or not you like his bedside manner. But I want to play, to your point, Matt, let's go ahead and play. This is Robert Reich, of course, Bill Clinton's labor secretary, former labor secretary. And I think he's like an economist, a Berkeley professor. Let's listen to him complaining about Elon. Watch.
It's very hard to know, Jen, what Elon Musk is trying to do, but he is sowing chaos, and he is also doing it in an extraordinarily condescending way, treating civil service people, civil servants, people who have dedicated their lives to the United States, who have pledged allegiance to the United States, who are working for all of us, treating them like school children. This is the richest man, the richest person in the world, who has no formal government authority whatsoever. He has never been confirmed. Nobody has seen his conflicts of interest. Nobody has seen anything that's been vetted. And he, on his own, I mean, that email came from him. It was put on his own platform, which he purchased, X, for $44 billion, telling federal workers what they have to do. Well, if this is not a takeover of the federal government of the United States, I don't know what is.
That man is 4'11".
The federal government is taking over the federal government?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Can you believe that? A takeover, Steve.
Yeah, but Robert Reich is either sitting on a stack of books or they've built all of his furniture at Hobbit size so that he can...
Well, to be fair, he has got to get the one true ring into the... I mean,
How else is he going to do it? Yeah, it's just so funny listening to them recite the same talking points. It's like, guys... We very much did vote for this. And he's, oh no, he's sowing chaos. Oh no, what are we going to do with chaos in Washington, D.C.? Because you guys, if they have chaos going on, they might not be able to focus on creating new rules and regulations that you have to follow and new laws and new tax codes to tax you more. And oh no, what would we ever do if there is... something that's preventing the bureaucrats from taking over your lives more. Oh, no.